What do you sell to a species that has already weaponized the laws of physics? Rex stared blankly at the Terran standing across the polished metal counter. The creature, Kalin called himself, casually described a theoretical anomaly that didn't just crack planetary crusts, it broke math. He spoke of collapsed star munitions and contained singularities with the mild enthusiasm of a man discussing the local weather. It was a terrifying glimpse of human innovation, one alien gun store at a time. At the edge of the galaxy, a Terran goes shopping for the apocalypse. It all started simply enough. 30 minutes earlier, Kalin had strolled into the Eegis Expanse munitions vault on the Voron orbital station. The heavy pressure seal hissed, and the air scrubbers hummed their low metallic rhythm. Vristed Hazur, with 4 pristine grasping limbs and a merchant's perfectly calculated smile, sized up the newcomer. Terrans were soft, small. They lacked exoskeletal plating or redundant nervous systems. Yet they walked into heavily armed rooms with a loose, arrogant confidence. Kalin tapped his fingers against the reinforced display glass. The heat of his bare hand fogged the pristine surface. He didn't ask for personal defense sidearms or plasma rifles. Instead, he requested the highest yield ordnance wreck kept in the vault, something with scale. Bree obliged. A paying customer was a paying customer. With a fluid practice gesture, the Xyler activated the central holith, displaying the store's premier orbital strike cannons and anti-cruiser payloads. Sleek, ruthlessly efficient tubes of death capable of turning a hardened dreadnought into molten slag from 3 light minutes away. They were masterpieces of pragmatic warfare. Kalin leaned back inside, a long, breathy sound that grated against Rex's sensitive audio receptors. The Terran waved a hand through the blue light of the projection, dismissing the masterpiece of engineering entirely. Muttering something about creeping obsolescence, he calmly listed Terran equivalents, kinetic impactors, heavy radiation accelerators, speaking of them like antique tools left to degrade in a shed. Boring. Inefficient. Too physical. Rex felt a twitch in his lower left mandible. The Eegis Expanse was renowned across 3 sectors for its devastating catalog. They thought they had cornered the market on cosmic destruction, until a human walked in. Escalation was inevitable. VRE's merchant pride demanded it. He disabled the vault's safety protocols and pulled from the restricted inventory. Heavy shielded display cylinders rose from the floor, locking into place with deep, vibrating thuds. Breck presented planetary core destabilizers, micro black hole emitters, weapons requiring buyers to sign waivers acknowledging the accidental erasure of surrounding moons. Kalin barely looked at them. Instead, he rested his elbows on the counter and explained how Terran research sectors actually worked. They didn't just build bigger explosives, they pursued the unnatural. If a scientist theorized a way to weaponize absolute entropy, the Terran military threw credits at them until the math became a physical reality. Why settle for a localized black hole? Kalin reasoned with a chillingly casual shrug, while human engineers actively tried to compress the vacuum of space into a bullet. Breck's mandibles clicked in rapid, involuntary staccato. Compress the vacuum. It was an aggressive violation of fundamental physics. But Kalin wasn't finished. Leaning over the display glass as if sharing a tedious bit of gossip, he tapped the side of his skull and traced invisible lines in the air between them, outlining the theoretical blueprints of a Terran reality breaker device. It wasn't a bomb. It wasn't a gun. Kalin described it simply as an unmaker. He spoke of collapsing subatomic glue, of reversing the spin of quarks just to see what would happen. The mechanism, he explained with a dismissive wave, didn't rely on kinetic force or heat. Instead, it converted basic elemental forces into a cascading, self-replicating wave of neon entropy, a localized bubble where the laws of thermodynamics simply stopped existing, replaced by blinding, expanding violet chaos that digested matter into abstract math. Rex felt his secondary heart skip a rhythm. To sell death was one thing. To sell the intentional, spiteful unraveling of existence was another entirely. It was madness born of limitless funding and terrifying lack of supervision. The ambient hum of the Eegis Expanse seemed to drop an octave. A hulking Brachiran mercenary, unplated in heavy combat armor, slowly lowered a rapid-fire plasma repeater, the heavy weapon clattering loudly against the sales counter. Further down the aisle, a pair of synthetic life forms halted their browsing routines, optical sensors burning unblinking red as they locked onto the Terran. The entire vault went dead quiet. Every patron froze, captivated and horrified by Kalin's casual demonstration of a universe ender. Kalin glanced around the silent room, rubbed the back of his neck, oblivious to the cold terror he just instilled. Or perhaps he simply didn't care. He looked back at Rex, at the micro black hole emitters in their shielded cylinders, which suddenly seemed small, almost quaint. Tapping the glass one last time, he muttered, "I'm guessing you don't have anything like that in the back." Breck didn't speak. He simply offered a slow, stiff negative motion with his primary manipulator. Kalin nodded, mildly disappointed, shoved his hands deep into his pockets, turned, and exited the Aegis Expanse empty-handed. The heavy pressure doors hissed open, swallowed his small, soft frame, and closed with a heavy thud. For a long time, nobody moved. VRE swallowed hard, claws trembling over the control console. With agonizing slowness, he engaged the retraction sequence. The display cylinders hummed, lowering the restricted planetary core destabilizers back into the floor, locking them beneath thick layers of armored plating. The store remained still. No one spoke. No one returned to browsing. The remaining alien patrons stood paralyzed by the sheer, absurd scale of human madness lingering in the room. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.